All right, and we are back after a week's hiatus and a whole lot going on in between. Welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm just Terryl. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people, and we've been having those conversations since college.
Yes, it's the regular guys, random thoughts, Married at First Sight, recap, Boston. I was so happy when you said I had the night off last week.
Uh-huh.
While you were out. It was amazing.
But what did you do last Wednesday?
So I thought I was going to go to happy hour, but that wound up getting canceled. So,
so how did you stay happy instead?
I sat and watched Married at First Sight and drank whiskey. That's what I did.
You became happy 2 hours.
Yeah, I did it. I wish it would have been a 420 week last week, because then I probably would have had a little bit more fun.
I'm sure you would have.
Yeah. I mean, today I didn't have any fun because I'm like, I know I need to make sure that I'm right when we get on this show, because there was that one episode that one time.
Right, that one episode that we'll no longer speak about. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I will say, to make it through today's episode, I probably would have needed some 420 celebration. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, here's the deal, right? So, Terryl is not a big fan of reality TV, and some point in time, way back in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, he made a deal with the devil and said he'd never watch reality TV again until there was a Black Bachelor. Of course, last year rolls around, and ABC says, "Hey, meet Matt James." So he's stuck watching the show. I decide I'm going to watch it with him because that's the kind of friends we are, right? Well, in return, he decides to watch one of my favorite shows. So season 13, Married at First Sight. He watches that halfway through the season. I have no idea what propelled him to do this, but he decided to make another deal with the devil and said, if Gil and Merla make it, then we'll do season 14. You know how that turned out. And so here we are, season 14, Married at First Sight recaps, Boston.
Collusion. I'm telling you. It's
okay,
a setup, but I don't mind doing it. It's fine. Here we are. You jumped out of a plane with me, so
yep.
I said that I would excitedly do season 14, and that's what I'm doing. I'm excited about this. This is so great. It's so awesome.
So excited that you watched it the week you weren't even going to do it. Last week, we had my wedding last week, so and then went on the honeymoon. So we took last week off. We're back, and so today what we're going to do, we're actually going to recap episode 14 and 15. We're back in the saddle. We won't miss any more episodes. We're here. Only one more to go before decision day and then the reunion. But let's go ahead and get down to the season 14, episodes 14 and 15. And why not? Let's go ahead and start with Lindsey the Lohan and Mark the Shark, because, I thought Lindsey said something very profound last week when she said she didn't want to marry an old man because Mark is really an old man I actually don't think Mark is an old man. He's becoming an old man because he just doesn't like her.
Could be it. I think that, last week's episode, it started out great for them, but Lindsey's a bit much. And so when that morning they woke up and she's just all and trying to do all that stuff. And Mark was like, hey, stop. He just wasn't in the mood, which I totally get. When I wake up in the morning, do I want someone to do that to me every morning? No. And so when he was telling her that, you're kind of hyper, and she took that as offense, I was like, this is just kind of ridiculous.
I will say this, though. This week's episode proved that Mark is remembering things incorrectly. Because he's like, no, I didn't say it jokingly. I was serious. And he's like, hey, no, stop. They went, their camera's there, Mark. We can see it. And he's, stop. And now, granted, no means no. Ladies, I want you to remember, no means no. When that man says don't tickle me, it means he doesn't like you at the moment. Don't tickle him.
Very true. But here's what would have happened. If Mark would have been like, Lindsey, cut your shit. I'm not in the mood. She still would have had the same result.
Yeah.
She still would have got all pissed off. So it wouldn't have mattered, how he said it or what he said. She still would be upset. So there's that. And then when the group all voted that Lindsey would be the one to cause the fight, and she had that attitude, it was like, everyone is seeing you for who you are.
Yes.
And they're showing it to you. And now you're going to get all pissy about it.
Okay, be honest. Were you surprised that she was like, fuck all y'all, I'm me, I don't need y'all, I'm good? We knew that was going to be her reaction. Come on. Nobody was surprised when she did that, even though they all looked like, oh, is she really saying that to us? But I think the person that really gets me the most in this relationship between Lindsey the Lohan and Mark the Shark is Mark the Guppy Fish, a.k.a. Mark the Goldfish, a.k.a. Mark the Clownfish. Because let's be honest, Mark is just mad that Lindsey is interpreting his behavior the way he wants her to, okay? Because think about this. Mark is doing the things to her. And guys, you've done this before with a woman that you're just not that into and you don't want to tell her, right? And you do the things to irritate her because you want her to just be turned off enough to walk away because you're not man enough at that moment to say, I don't want to deal with you anymore. This is it. I'm done. And that's what Mark is doing. The problem is Lindsey's so straightforward. As she interprets it, she doesn't go, oh, what's wrong? She's going, this is what it feels like. And he's not shark enough to say, you're goddamn right. I don't like you.
That's very deep because I could totally see that. I can totally see that perspective. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like Mark has that type of cojones.
Exactly.
To poke the bear intentionally to try to get her to walk away from him. I just don't feel like he has that in him. Mm-hmm. And so I think that he's trying to be himself. Lindsey just reacts.
It's
and Mark doesn't really know how to handle it.
Right.
What I don't like about Lindsey, she is a bit much, but she's being who she is, and I think that's great, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that Lindsey doesn't recognize her stuff. So in tonight's episode, when they met with Dr. Pepper, when they met with Dr. Pepper, it's all about what Mark's doing.
Right.
And she's not recognizing that Mark is saying, hey, sometimes you're a bit much, and I need you to dial that back a bit. And if you do, hey, I can connect with you better. But the fact that you're like all out like this, and then as soon as I start to say, hey, chill out, then you shut down and get all pissy. Mm-hmm. I think that's a problem. And I think that Lindsey has an idea of, and again, this is your stupid favorite show, that just because you got married, this person's going to be everything that you want.
Right.
And the whole wanting him to try new foods and all that stuff. Yeah, hey, I get that. Mm-hmm. But you got to recognize that's not your jam. But is that the number one thing in your marriage that you need to have? Is somebody to try all the new bullshit you want to put in his face?
Exactly.
No. Is that honestly, and again, you're married and, you have beams of light that can shoot out of your fingers because you've excelled to a level that I never will. But is that the most important thing? Like, let him alone. Maybe once a week, try something new. And I bet Mark would be cool with that.
Right.
But the fact that she's trying to make him be all that she wants right away, I think that's her problem.
He made a great point. Give me a nibble. Don't shovel that shit in my mouth because I don't want to try that foo-foo shit you got, okay? But I will say, when they had the game night, and Lindsey, because to your point of what Lindsey does and what Mark pointed out tonight, last week, Lindsey had a ton of great jokes. I know Mark was mad, but Lindsey had the best jokes. And I can understand why he was mad, but they were funny. And I will say, Lindsey's always kept saying, well, I do this for you. I. And then the Lord said, be sick. I'm going to show you what it feels like when you got to depend on somebody else to take care of your ass because you are a bit too much.
I don't wish sickness or bad health on anybody, but that was interesting because to me, that was an example of what marriage is like, right? Mm-hmm. Even though I don't know. But that's an example of marriage is like. You're with somebody who you love and you can't stand sometimes, but then something happens and you have to go into I care for you mode. And I think Mark did a good job of that. But I still think that this couple is not going to make it. Partly because they could be the right fit if they embraced it and were vulnerable and let each other balance them out. Right. But Lindsey is just she's 90 miles an hour. And Mark's not that way. And she wants somebody to be what she wants them to be when she wants them to be that. And I'm just like, that's not going to work out.
Look, Lindsey's just Drake. 0 to 100 real quick. Tell you who's going 0 to 10 real slow. Jasmina and Michael. And here's the thing about last week's episode. As I'm watching it, I'm just like, Jasmina, look. Stop it. Talking about, I'm nervous that I'm not going to have any feelings. Girl, stop it. You do not have any feelings for this man. Period. Y'all are besties. We saw that this week. And we saw last week y'all are still besties. It ain't happening. Nothing's happening.
I feel like Michael is the friend that Biz Marquis was talking about. Like, they're just a friend.
Oh, baby,
you're not going to be anything else.
You got what I need.
Yeah. He's just going to be a friend, and they have that good friend zone vibe. I think when they were in Vermont, and it's great to see that they're talking, connecting. I think they had a great trip in Vermont.
Yes.
I think they had a lot of progress. I think the experience with the who's the witch doctor? Yeah. So when they had that experience with her, I mean, I thought a lot of that was cool. But if you look at tonight's episode, he's in the friend zone.
Oh yeah,
and he's
that's an upgrade.
Stuck in the friend zone. He's stuck in the friend zone. It's like, dude, like she's openly said it multiple times in front of you.
Yep.
That she doesn't feel wanting to do that. So at this point, y'all been around this much, sleeping in the same bed this much, and she still doesn't want to make out with you. You're just a friend, and you got to just embrace that.
The witch doctor, as you call her, she made some very important observations because. I like the editing of this, right? Because she dropped this, dropped that, all these numbers that mean so much to Michael, and they're like, dang. And then she goes, I feel twins. And he's like, yeah, we have triplets in my family. She's like, oh, I've always wanted twins. I feel, California. She's like, oh, well, I've always. So she's feeling this energy off of, if we believe her, she's feeling the energy off Jasmina, but she's saying it for Michael, right? So you almost feel like, oh, she's saying they're together. But then, what does she say? You're not going to find the next love of your life for 5 years, Michael. You, Jasmina, will find them in the next year and a half. But you're going to regret the fact that it wasn't Michael. She already told them, this ain't happening. You think you can do better. And when you go out there and find the next jackass, you'll realize that you should have stuck with this friend zone jackass who hit his ceiling when he hit the friend zone. Because the friend zone he's in now, that's an upgrade from where he was before.
100%. And what I loved about that is we all have that. We all have somebody from our past that we wish that chick would realize I was the shit and you blew it. Now,
I'm married. No, I don't have that at all. I'm married.
No, I'm just, okay. Not you, of course, but like me as a single guy, there's people I've dated to where I'm like, okay, yeah, I see who you're with now. I see how you're unhappy. You didn't have all that when you were with me, but hey, this is what you get. And it feels good. But for Michael to hear, it's going to be 5 years. If this doesn't work out, you got to go 5 years before you find someone else. That's kissing a lot of frogs. If you think
not only that, they're supposed to have twins in a year and a half. Well, no, she said Jasmina was going to have twins.
She's supposed to have twins in a year and a half. Not their twins.
That means she's knocking somebody down in 7 months.
Exactly. Yeah, she's gonna like have she's going to F her way out of the feelings for Michael and all the experience and wind up getting pregnant and having twins and then realize, wow, Michael would have been a much better person to have twins with than this person. But I think she's going to do what a lot of women do. And I know I'm going to get beat up for this in the comments. She's going to be like, well, I made my choice. I'm with this person. We have these twins. I got to make this work rather than admitting I made a mistake.
Well, let's be honest. She can admit she made the mistake, but if Michael is half the man that he wants to be, he wouldn't take her ass back. Because the way she treated him on this show, I gave Michael a lot of flack from the very beginning, right? The way she's treated him on this show, the way she's friend zoned him on this show, the way she's all giving him the googly eyes and all this false hope. On the drive back home from Vermont, that was a lot of false hope she tried to give him. Michael would then go, you know what? You should have chose better. You should have listened to the medium when she told you. Now stay there and live happy in the crappy life you now have.
That you built for yourself. Now I'm curious, and I would love to see in the comments, guys, are there any women that you were infatuated with, really liked, dated, they blew you off, and then later came back and you got with them? And then also women, are there any men that you blew off because you were in your I want them to have swag phase in your life and went through all these bastards and then went back to somebody and they actually brought you back? and accepted you. I'm curious to see how many people that's happened to, because it is possible. It's the exception. It's not the rule, but it's possible. But I'm just curious how many people have that experience. So hit us up in the comments if you have any.
And that could go, so you kind of separated it one way for guys and girls, and I think it goes both ways, because there are women who were blown off by guys, and then they go through, because they were in the ugly duckling phase. We've all been in that ugly duckling phase, guys and girls, right? And then when that woman blossoms and the guys come beating down the door like, hey, remember me? I was the one that you talked all that shit about. So it goes both ways, and guys have tried to go back and all that as well too. So either way that it's worked out or not worked out, and you've had a chance to say, yeah, you missed your shot, or now you want to come. Drop that comment.
I feel it goes more towards guys. I think about Mike Jones. Here
we go.
Now, Back then you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. You all up on me, right? I think more guys go through that than women do, in my opinion. Because guys can go through an ugly phase, but then all of a sudden they're an executive at a company and they have money and they have this. All of a sudden they're cute. You take Mutombo. If Mutombo didn't play basketball and he worked at Walmart, he wouldn't have got half the ladies that he got in his basketball career.
I'm still going to say it's a little even more so the other way, because you just said guys who become executives, right? That, let's be honest, there are more women who go through the ugly duckling phase, and they don't have to be the executive. They don't even have to be the entry level or the intern. But once they look a certain way, because guys, we are very shallow, and we go after that look first. So the minute wait, I didn't know you look like this now. So, but you know what? And that could be something. Who goes through it more? Comment below.
Hey, hit us up in the comments. I'm curious to see what other people think, but I think I'm right.
In other words, tell Terrell he's wrong, I'm right.
Okay, you can do that.
As we move on to Katina Olajuwon, and I will say this, man. First of all, Olajuwon, who's got so much to say about Katina and her education, needs to learn English first, because first it was the gondola that he was talking about, and then last week now it's the Kazebos. It's an alpaca, goddammit.
Wait, both of their ignorant asses need to pick up a book, because she was like, I was running with sheep. I was like, no, that's an alpaca.
Yeah, but she also didn't say that, I like to be taken care of. What the fuck is that? That's not English.
Well, salmon. Don't forget about that. Salmon. So, whatever. But so last week in Vermont, I thought that they had a good day, or a good episode, right? I respect the fact that Olajuwon apologized to the group for his behavior when they had that dinner, and was trying to call Katina out. I think Olajuwon is what we've called out before. When Dr. Pepper was trying to call him out on his shit, he got overly defensive and went into that Olajuwon mode where I'm just like, whatever. And I think the reality is Olajuwon's Olajuwon. He's not going to change, and I respect him for that. Yeah. But I respect him for not changing who he is. I don't respect who he is, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah, so I don't respect who he is. If you want to be that guy, hey, great. But for Katina to constantly find ways to make him happy, and it's not about her, and he is so judgmental, because you take tonight's episode and even part of last week's when she was saying that in 2 years she's going to graduate, but she wants to have kids. Don't knock somebody for their hustle and what they're trying to do. She's at least trying. Now, here's where I agree with Olajuwon, and this is where I'm probably going to get more heat in the comments.
Yo, boy. Hey,
I believe there are certain people that have a hustle about them that can make them successful. I don't believe Katina has the hustle about her to make her successful. And that's what Olajuwon's worried about, is that, hey, it's going to take a lot for you to get to this level, graduate in 2 years, and have kids. Do you have it in you? And I don't know. I think there are people who are 90 years old that graduated with a bachelor's degree. I get it. I'm not knocking about when you graduate. But there's a certain drive and hustle that you have to do that full-time job, be married, and get ready to bring a baby into the world. You got to have a lot of hustle. And I don't know if Katina has. Again, I don't know her, but I feel Olajuwon in that standpoint, that do you have the drive that he had? And he had this amazing drive to get him to where he's at. I just don't think Katina's there.
Well, the problem is Olajuwon thinks Katina's his child. You know, that's why I'm tough on you. You're not her fucking daddy, okay? Let's get that straight. And the problem I have is the way he continually talks down to her. And to be the jackass to wear that shirt says, I'm talking with you, not at you. No, actually, you're constantly talking at her, never with her. And that's the problem. I mean, and even when she's not there, he's in the confessional and he's like, and it shouldn't irritate me, and maybe I'm the only one that feels this way, but it irritates me that he never says her name. He's always just, my wife, my wife, my wife. And I guarantee, I say my wife a lot as well. But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And everything else that he does in this whole, I am grooming you to make you a better woman, and this, you need to be a wife. You're a wife now. It's the way he says it irks the shit out of me. And I may be the only person that feels that way. And maybe it's just because I just really don't like Olajuwon, and maybe that's it.
I don't think you're wrong in what you're saying. All I'm saying is that Olajuwon is a very unique personality. You take me, you know me really well. Mm-hmm. You know that there's certain women I probably couldn't date because you know me and my personality.
Yep.
Olajuwon is his personality, right? So I understand where he's coming from. Is he wrong in his presentation of that? Definitely. But he's still being true to himself. Now, he does view Katina as somebody less than because of what he's accomplished. And when I think about what he's accomplished, I'm like, okay, you're not like the CEO of ExxonMobil, so dial that back a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I understand his point about how he was so focused on achieving his financial goals and all that stuff that he wants somebody that has that same drive. And again, we only see what we see from the producers, but maybe in the one-on-one conversations, there's not enough that Katina is saying that is closing the deal for him to feel like, girl, you got this hustle. You're going to knock your college out in 2 years. We're going to have a baby and all that. Because I've been around a lot of people that talk a good game about what they want to do, but then month after month, they ain't doing shit. But they keep talking about it. And I'm just like, don't talk about it, be about it. If you want to accomplish these goals, sacrifice, do what it takes, make it happen. And there's people I meet that I can tell they have the drive and the hustle to make their goals happen. And there are people that just talk about it and don't do anything. And so maybe he's trying to evaluate, are you all talk or are you about to make this happen?
But he's all talk. What are you talking about? He that's all he does is talk, right? And the fact is, he wants her to do all this, but yet he still wants her to cook for him every goddamn day. I haven't heard him say, let's alternate cooking days. Let you cook 2 days, I cook 2 days. We eat out on a third day. We have leftovers the other. There's nothing else except you need to learn how to cook. That's all he's ever pushed down. And again, it is what we're fed. Out of all of the hours of tape that they've filmed, we get this little bit of it. But the piece that I'm seeing, the piece that we're fed, just says, and you say it too, it's all about Olajuwon. It's not about anything. And she's trying to back him and say, well, you know, he does this, so he does stuff for me. It's just never caught on camera. Okay. Blink twice, girl. We know you need help.
Well, but true. But imagine you grew up in the projects, as he showed tonight, and then you go to college. Yeah, I think he got a scholarship because he played ball. Then you paid off whatever student loans you had. You buy a house, you pay it off, and you have this financial freedom and that feeling of accomplishment that you did this by yourself. It's hard to look at someone else and not be judgy, and I think that's where he's at. I've done all these things, regardless of how, Katina could have an MBA, but if she's still renting an apartment and never owned a home, he's still going to judge her at that same level and think that he's above.
And
but
that's
I think that I get that he has this mindset of, I've accomplished this. What have you accomplished? She hasn't. But true, if you're going to marry this person, it's about team. How do we do this together? But in his mind, he's trying to evaluate, do you have the hustle and drive it takes to do what I did by myself? Now we're going to be it as a team. And he's worried about sacrificing on his end. So if let's say she gets pregnant, she can't work. He has to pay for all that. All the extra stuff that he's wanting to do, can't do.
Right.
Because you got a family now. You got a wife. You got a baby on the way. So he's worried about having to hold the bill, which tells me he doesn't make a lot of money anyway. Because if money was no issue for him, that wouldn't be a concern about your wife having a baby. You don't make that kind of money. So you should dial that shit back a little bit.
But the part that irritated me about that too, and there are a couple of things here, but the part when you said that about the baby and him not making enough to support, because he's like, that shouldn't all be on me. You want to be the man of the house.
Yep.
What do you think that entails? If you want to be the man of the house, you're trying to be her daddy and all this other shit. What do you think that entails? Okay? And the fact of the matter is, just because you own your own home doesn't mean you look down on somebody else who rents, right?
Right.
And if nobody has told you the sense of what it means to own your own home, then you don't know. Because trust me, had people told us the stuff that we know now, when we were in our 20s, we'd have owned homes then too. Because I know people who were young that owned homes, but because somebody else told them, and they had people who were going to back them and put the down payment down. So there's that. However, they had the resources. But the key is, you can't look down on somebody, because I remember I dated somebody after I bought my house, my first house. I had that, right? And when I met her and she said in this apartment, like, well, you know, if you own for what you're paying in rent, you probably pay less on your mortgage. It wasn't about, oh my God, I'm going to look down on you because of this. This person ended up buying a bigger house than I had and watch her property value go up because they started building more houses around where she bought. But that's how you. If you're in a relationship, you have to uplift. You don't beat down. And Olajuwon is all about the beat down, except when it comes to beating it down.
No, true. But now here's what I do respect about the Olajuwon Katina situation. I think this is a comment for the ladies. If you have a lifestyle, you have a way that you want to live a life, date accordingly. Mm-hmm. So if you want, let's say you make $120,000 a year doing whatever you make. Mm-hmm. And you meet a great guy, but he's a kindergarten teacher making $42,000. Don't date him, because he's not going to be able to match your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Regardless, he could have the best credit score and all that, but he only makes $42,000. Don't date him. Now, if you want to date higher, hey, great, you can do that, but you minimize your pool. But if you have a certain lifestyle you want to lead financially, you got to date people who make that. But then also, and I hate to say this in the words of Kevin Samuels, you got to make yourself somebody that those people that make that kind of money want.
But and I was about to say,
I don't buy into everything Kevin Samuels says, but I agree with this concept that
you start quoting
if
from the
you
book
want to
of Kevin
date
Samuel,
six-figure guys, you got to make sure that you're six-figure guy worthy.
But here's the other part of that, though. The part of that is that the six-figure guys, right? And I can't believe we're actually going Kevin Samuel shit. This is the last thing we'll say about them on this. But because you said you minimize your pool, but for those guys, when the decimal point moves further to the right, their pool opens up. So while your pool shrinks, their pool expands. So you say date accordingly. I say it's if that adjustment can be made. Sometimes you don't have to worry about exactly what it is, how much somebody makes. And I know you well enough to know that you're not going to kick somebody out just because they don't make what you make.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that is I'm a guy. For women, it's different, right? For women, it's different.
Yeah.
You can be an educated woman and all this other stuff, but they don't have that same luxury that we have to say, hey, I don't care what she makes. I'm good. They got to look at a guy and be like, okay, I'm a single parent. I got 2 kids. You make $40,000 a year. This is not going to work out because I'm already struggling right now and I make 100. Mm-hmm. And if you only make 40, that's not adding much value. So I should not date you.
Right.
But as a guy, if we're because in the way the world's set up, because we have a penis, we can make more money. If I make more money and I make twice as much as you make, well, that's a win for her. But guys, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about, man, I hope I meet somebody who has a good income because I really want security. We don't have to do that.
Ladies, in the words of Dr. Terryl, stay single.
No. Mr. Terryl, not Doctor.
So as we go to Noi and Steve, I will say this, man. They went from the couple that I thought in the very beginning were a surefire thing. These are the sure thing to me being absolutely, completely annoyed with annoying Noi. All right. She is annoying and she is not ready for a real relationship. I mean, maybe she and her dog can be together because at least the dog doesn't read social media and she can post whatever the hell she wants. But the fact that she's gonna stand her ground and this is why I'm gonna stick to this, and then shutting down, that's childish. You don't deserve to be here. How did they put on the show? Why?
Well, I think Noi is a good example of why therapy is good. Like if you've grown up and you had these she grew up in a traumatized fashion.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with getting therapy. Most companies have an employee assistance program, and so you can get therapy for free. But she's a good reason why you need therapy, because her issue, as of last week, she can't express herself in emotions. Right. And as we found out tonight, it's because of how she grew up. Mm-hmm. And so when Steve is confronting her last week about her social media, and she doesn't want to talk about it, she comes across very immature, which I think she is. And then Steve is 38. Noi is, how old is Noi?
Good question. Let's see. I want to say 28 or 30.
I want to say late 20s. So she's still in a level of growth in her maturity, but she needs some counseling, some therapy. She needs to talk through some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But
Noi's 33. We're both wrong. Noi's 33.
Okay, so she's still immature.
She's too goddamn old.
I think that last week with the whole social media stuff, Noi has a fear that what if I fully commit to this and this person's broke and now I'm stuck and I got to start over. And she's communicated that to Steve, and we've talked about this repeatedly. And Steve needs to communicate to her like the financial game plan. Now, what I didn't like about tonight's episode, let me back up. I liked tonight's episode where she got a chance to help explain why she doesn't open up. But the fact that Dr. Pepper was like, yeah, me and my husband, we live separate. We've been together for 16 years. Yeah. Noi's like, see, it can work. Noi's whole thing is like, I don't trust that Steve can take care of me. And I need to hold on to my stuff because he's not giving me a clear vision that he can take care of me.
She needs to leave the baggage from that last relationship in the last relationship. Before you come to this one, I get it. Learn from it. But leave the baggage there. She's brought it with her and unpacked that baggage into this relationship, right? And let's be real. Do not miss what she said last week. The reason Noi wants Steve to have a job is so that her ass can stay at home and not work. And this is the same woman who doesn't want to cook, who doesn't want to clean shit in the house. She doesn't want to pick up after her own goddamn dog. So she wants Steve to go out and work and then come home and cook and then clean up the house and clean the bathrooms and then make sure he walks the dog. He's probably going to have to breastfeed the goddamn kids too, all three of them.
No. I don't believe that. I just respectfully disagree with you, sir.
She said it.
I think, no, well, here's the deal. If you're not working, you should be doing all that shit. Similar to if I married a stay-at-home mom or just a housewife. I shouldn't have to cook. I shouldn't have to clean. Now, the thing is, I don't want one of those. I don't want somebody who's a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home housewife. So we both have our careers and we can divide and conquer. You know, every other day I cook, every day that she cooks, one night a week we go out, whatever the case may be. I don't knock her for saying that, but I totally get it because she's like, you're not working. Why should I come home and do this shit? Because if I was a man, I am a man. As a man, if I'm with somebody who is a stay-at-home wife and there's no kids, why should I have to come home and cook?
Well, she didn't have to come home. She's home. I think they
well, exactly. So, but her point, Steve's home. Yeah. He's not doing anything, so
he cooks all the time he does all that stuff anyway.
He should. He's not working.
Look, at the same time, it doesn't mean you do nothing. It doesn't mean you don't do anything.
She's bringing the money in. He's not bringing money in. So
but she's not paying all the bills. He still has stuff there too. So it's not like she's not supporting him.
True, she's not, but in her mind, she is because he's not doing
those
anything. Now,
words,
I will agree with you.
In her mind, those three words right there.
Well, I agree with that, but I do understand the conversation they had with Dr. Pepper. Mm-hmm. Because if they moved in together and Steve is not working and she moved into Steve's house, in her mind, Steve should be cooking, taking care of Sushi's shit, and all that stuff because he's not working. But in her mind, she's like, if I quit and leave my house or apartment, she's probably renting. She moves her out of her apartment, moves into Steve, and Steve has no financial plan that he's communicated effectively to help her feel financially secure. She doesn't want to lose that. So I think her fear is not her independence, as she talked about, her fear is like, I don't want to put all my eggs into you because you've not shown me that this can be something and that you have something that I don't have to worry. Because if she winds up having kids, again, she could have an at-risk birth. She can have a kid that, she needs to be bedridden. She can't work. She goes on FMLA. What is he bringing into the table? And I still don't believe he's communicated that.
Noodles.
He could be a millionaire.
Noodles.
He could be a millionaire. He's not communicated that to her. Mm-hmm. And I think for her to say yes, she needs to hear his plan.
Well, I hope he is a secret billionaire, millionaire, quadrillionaire, and decides just not to tell her until she says no. We're like, good. Me and my billions are going over here. Matter of fact, Merla, come out.
No, if he was all those things, if he was a gajillionaire, bazillionaire, whatever, he'd be on The Bachelor, not on Married at First Sight.
I will say this. One of the things that really annoys me about Noi is that she's so judgmental. You saw when she saw he's like, this is my stuffed teddy bear from when, probably the first one I ever had. He kept it. So what? And she's, the way she turned up her nose and so judgmental, but you want your nasty ass dog to sleep in the bed with us.
There's a lot of judgment. With the dog sleeping in the bed. Let the dog be comfortable.
Yeah, the dog can be comfortable on the goddamn floor where it belongs or outside where it belongs. In the doggy bed that you have separate. Don't bring them nasty ass paws up in the bed where I rest my head.
Agree to disagree, sir. There's nothing better than like morning doggy snuggles.
Yes, there is. Your wife snuggles.
No, because your wife's got to say some shit. The dog doesn't say anything. It's just snuggles and that's it. The wife is going to be like, get some snuggles and be like, here's what I need you to do today. Give you a to-do list. Dog doesn't do that. It's just snuggles.
Hey, not if you start the morning off right.
Even if you start the morning off right, like, oh, babe, that was awesome. So I need you to go to Home Depot. Don't forget, I need you to get this paint. Here's the deal. I'm going to text it to you because you got the wrong one last time. So, no, dog didn't say anything. Dog is just all about the snuggles, and that's it.
You and your dog, you and Sushi, have a great time in the bed. Y'all cuddle, kiss, whatever you do.
It's just snuggles. Morning doggy snuggles. You have no idea.
Yes, and I don't want to know.
No, I get it.
Hey, we are back, and that means that the episodes resume. We'll have episode 84 next week. Monday, we drop our regular episodes, audio on Monday, video on Tuesday on YouTube, and then of course Wednesdays. We've got what? How many more weeks left? We've got 3. Yeah, we got next week. Then
they said it's 8 days.
Uh-huh.
And I bet they're going to milk that out into 3 weeks to decision day. So today I saw like 8 days. I'm like, so we got 3 more weeks of this. I just know it. They're going to milk it.
Well, we got the day before, the episode before decision day, then probably a 2-part reunion. You know they're going to probably do a 2-part reunion. Then where are they now? So they probably got another month and almost a month and a half of this. But 4 to 5 weeks left. And but here's the great thing. So the ultimatum is dropped. It's one of the other shows we talked about. And I think for episode 84, we're going to do the ultimatum recap. So look for that on Monday. And if we drop that on Monday, then we probably end up dropping the video on Monday as well. Do the premiere 7 o'clock Eastern. So look for it on Monday as we drop the ultimatum recap, episode 84.
Yeah.
You seem so excited about that too.
I'm not excited, but what I am excited about is I've missed this. I've missed we've had a good, little bit time off. I got a chance to be with you in Detroit for the wedding. That was great. But I miss being able to talk to our listeners. And I've openly said that I don't like these reality shows, but if this is what our people like, I'll talk about it. That's fine. So I'm going to binge watch the hell out of the ultimatum. Mm-hmm. To be prepared to talk about it in 4 days. But I'm sacrificing myself for all of you.
That is so good of you. And I want to point out to everyone that the prayer warriors need to unite because 90 Day Fiancé just started, right? And if you unite, we can convince Terrell to go ahead and do this one as we wrap up this, just pick up 90 Day Fiancé and just do it. Even if it means episode 85 is a recap of episode 1, 2, 3. And then we pick up from there until Married at First Sight is done. Whatever it is, unite, let him know below, and let's see if we can get him on 90 Day Fiancé. Because all new couples, except for that one couple with the guy from Ethiopia, they're back. But all new couples, 90 Day Fiance. This would be a good way to get him on 90 Day Fiance. But I'm going to need your help.
You're going to need prayer warriors, witch doctors, Quakers, Mormons. You're going to need a whole lot of people to get in on this one, to get me to do that. It's going to take a whole lot.
Unite.
No, they're not united because they have different ideologies. So they're not going to work out.
And one's good, but one different ideologies, one common cause, 90 Day Fiance.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Hey, I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm Just Terryl.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at Just Terryl, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet, and we'll talk about it on the show.
Or just comment below and tell him you want him to do 90 Day Fiance. It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers. He's like, Terrell's going to try to kick my ass now.